quite surprisingly and out of nowhere as well, we have received the first official PlayStation 5 details. The information comes to us from a Wired article where they recently spoke to Mark Cerny, who is the dude responsible for the architecture and the building of Sony's consoles. And I have to say, I'm surprised we have this official information so early on. I don't really know if there's a precedent for this. I don't think that Sony's ever done this before, where they just reveal a bunch of information about their future console in an article. It seems a bit odd to me, but maybe they've done it before. Now, the information we received overall isn't too shocking, but it's super interesting nonetheless. In this interview with Wired, which I'll link down in the description, Mark refused to refer to the new console as the PlayStation 5, but would rather just call it the next-gen console. Now, obviously, I think we can all assume pretty safely that it's going to be called PS5, because why wouldn't it be? But they were hesitant to call it that, so who knows. I guess it's possible it has a different name, but I don't know how likely that is. Now, some cool things to get out of the report was that it will have backwards compatibility, which is something I've talked about in the past on the channel, how I thought it was necessary and also incredibly likely for the PS5, and well, it's been confirmed it's happening. Like I said, that's something that's not too surprising, but it's definitely cool that that's something that's been confirmed already, when I would have previously have thought that we wouldn't have had that information known to us until the official reveal, probably around this time next year maybe. So it's cool, we've got that out of the way. We know that PS5 will be backwards compatible and you will be able to play your PS4 games on PS5. He also mentioned that the current PSVR headset will be compatible with PS5, which is again not overly surprising, but obviously cool for those who have PSVR headsets already, considering they are quite an investment. Mark Cerny confirmed to Wired that the PlayStation 5 will not be releasing anywhere in 2019. Again, not surprising at all. I don't think anyone expected the console to come out this year at this point, which makes it basically almost essentially confirmed at this point that it will be releasing in 2020, which was always a pretty obvious guess. That was something that was easily predictable, but if you needed that extra bit of confirmation for it releasing in 2020, then you have it here. Now, the most substantial information we received other than those things related to the specs of the console. Now, I'm not a tech guy at all. I don't understand the whole CPU, GPU crap. I don't know. It's never made any sense to me, so the article goes into a lot of detail about all the processors and all the micro crap that the PS5 will have. So if you're interested in that and you know what the hell that's all about, feel free to check the article like I said in the description. From a power perspective, the number one thing I took out of this article that was quite interesting was the emphasis that was placed on the PlayStation 5 having a lack of loading times. Now obviously loading times not being a thing sounds like every gamer's dream, but I don't know, I guess I just never really considered it, to be honest. In talking about next gen a lot, I'd never really thought about the idea that they would be able to substantially cut loading times. I guess because the jump from PS3 to PS4 and 360 to Xbox One didn't really bring a lot of improvements in loading times, so I guess I just expected the same here, but apparently that's going to be one of the big focuses for the PlayStation 5. And it seems Sony also plans on using that, the fact that there will be a lack of loading times, as a key strategy in their marketing for the console, which is definitely a really good idea. I'll tell you what, just hearing about these loading times makes me want to buy the console, that's for sure. For this part, I'm going to exactly quote the article because I think it's super interesting. To demonstrate, Cerny fires up a PS4 Pro playing Spider-Man, a 2018 PS4 exclusive that he worked on alongside Insomniac Games. On the TV, Spidey stands in a small plaza. Cerny presses a button on the controller, initiating a fast travel interstitial screen. When Spidey reappears in a totally different spot in Manhattan, 15 seconds have elapsed. Then Cerny does the same thing on a next-gen dev kit. What took 15 seconds now takes less than 0.8 seconds to be exact. Obviously, that's crazy impressive. And it makes a lot of sense that Sony want to use that in their PR strategy, because that sounds super appealing. Instant load times, instant fast travel, it sounds great on paper. In practicality, I don't know if it's going to be as good as it sounds here, because obviously they're talking about Spider-Man, a current gen game with current gen graphics. So when you start moving up to the next gen level and more power is being used for graphics on the PS5 games natively, then I would expect that the loading times would be longer than 0.8 seconds. Because at the end of the day, that example is the next gen console running a current gen game. So I don't know in a practical sense if it's actually going to turn out to be that quick. I think the idea of instant load times like this seems to be presenting is still out of our reach, and I'd be surprised if PS5 was able to accomplish exactly that. But still, I think it's virtually guaranteed that we're still going to see substantial improvements in loading times. Maybe not necessarily sudden loading times, but at least substantial improvements, which is certainly great to hear. Now, like I said, I'm not a tech guy, but apparently what makes all this possible is the fact that the PlayStation 5 will have a solid state drive, which is something that the current gen of consoles doesn't have. So yeah, that's the details we have on PS5 at the moment. The fact that we're actually getting details about the PS5 is cool in and of itself. What's also incredibly interesting is the fact that Sony got ahead of Microsoft, because we know that they're probably going to be talking about the future of their consoles at E3 this year, whether that means the reveal of a next gen console or the reveal of their new streaming strategy. We don't know exactly what it's going to look like yet, but regardless, Sony have got ahead of them. They've thrown us a bone and made sure that some info for PS5 is out there prior to Microsoft announcing their strategy soon. At the end of the day, it's just cool we're finally getting some official details on the next gen of consoles, because there's no doubt in my mind we're going to be talking about next gen a lot over the next couple of years. So it's good to see the conversation is just getting started. This has been SirCazz, farewell.